Hey folks, welcome to module 3. This is interesting because it's kind of having me think a little bit more about how Creative Commons works and a little bit more about the licensing. And then also I like that it was a push to kind of think about how can I incorporate that into my work. I create a lot of content for my students, anywhere from podcasts to videos to whatever. And I know for sure now that I know how to do this, that I'm going to be really incorporating it into all of these things because I think it's truly important. So there's a couple of things to talk about for this week. There are the 3 layers. And the copyright licenses, from what I've seen as part of y'all's work, is that there's this 3-layer design. And so each license begins with kind of a very like legal tool in language and text that would be connected to a full understanding of like the law, and that's the legal code layer of the license. But since most of us aren't lawyers, there's also different kind of ways to think about it. So there's the common deed or human readable version, and it's a handy reference for licensors, licensees, summarizing and expressing some of the most important terms and conditions. And then the final layer of the license design, that is for kind of much more software connected, is the machine readable version, where it has kind of a summary of the key freedoms and obligations written into a format for software systems. And so those are kind of the 3 different layers that exist as we think about these licenses. And essentially, through these next elements where we can help creators retain copyright while allowing others to copy and distribute their work, ensure licensors get credit for their work, last as long as applicable copyrights last, and then also apply everywhere around the world. Last week we talked about kind of how things are different in different countries. So we have 6 Creative Commons licenses. There's the attribution, which is lets others distribute, remix, adapt, and build upon your work. There's the share alike, and so that one also lets others remix, adapt, and build upon your work, even for commercial purposes, as long as they credit you in the license in their new creations. There's the no derivs, the attribution no derivs, and that license let others reuse the work for any purpose, including commercially. However, it cannot be shared with others in adapted form, and credit must be provided to you. There's non-commercial. And so this license let others remix, adapt, and build upon your work non-commercially. And although their new works must also acknowledge you and be non-commercial, they don't have to license their derivative works in the same terms. There's the attribution non-commercial share alike. That license let others remix, adapt, and build upon your work non-commercially as long as they credit you and license their new creations under the identical terms. And then there's also the attribution non-commercial no derivs, and that license is the most restrictive of the 6 main licenses. It only allows others to download your works and share them with others as long as they credit you, but they can't change them in any way or use them commercially. There are 2 tools that was really interesting to hear about. I know we had heard about some of them before, but getting a chance to take a look. There's the CC0 tool that allows licensors to waive all rights and place a work in the public domain. And then there's also the public domain mark, which allows any web user to mark a work as being in the public domain. The other question that they ask here is the if how exceptions and limitations to copyright affect Creative Commons license works. And I think my initial thought, and I could be way off, is no. But by design, these licenses do not reduce, limit, or restrict any rights under exceptions and limitations to copyright. Things such as like fair use or fair dealing. So I would say no, but would love to hear what other people think. Thank you all for listening to my reflections and musings like this, and looking forward to hearing what you all come up with. Thank you.